welcome to Storytime in Seacliff. And the name of the book is The Fisherman and His Wife. A long time ago, we met the author, and she inscribed this beautifully and drew a great picture of two cats, because the fisherman and his wife in this version are cats. So it says, to Jillian and Anne. Once upon a time in the country of Norway, there was a fisherman and his wife. They lived very happily in their cottage by the shore of the river, and every morning Ragnar would sail out to fish. Well, whether the sun was hot or the wind was cold, Ragnar would come home to Ulna, kiss her on the nose and say, "My dearest, I hope you're as happy as I am in this beautiful world." Well, Ulla would always answer, "Oh yes, my love, we have everything. We have the mountains around us and petunias in the window box, but most of all, we have each other." So Ulla and Ragnar would smile, smiles of love across the candle flames, and they would eat a delicious dinner of herring and potatoes. Well, one day when he was out in the middle of the river, a huge tug was felt on his line, and he pulled, and a fish with scales like sapphires and eyes as green as emeralds and ruby red lips came out, and to his great surprise, the fish could talk. "Let me off the hook, fisherman, and I'll grant you any wish you name," he said. Ragnar didn't believe a word the fish said. "How about some lobster then?" And dozens of lobsters leaped onto the ship. Well, Ragnar thanked the fish, unhooked its mouth, and watched it swim away. Well, that evening Ragnar was so excited he forgot to kiss Ulla. He told her about the fish who granted wishes, and she was delighted. But then she said, "Ragnar, we can't eat lobster. Our cooking pot isn't large enough. Tell the fish we need a bigger pot too." The next day Ragnar was out on his boat, and Ulla made a special cake, and she hummed a sea song and about the gulls dropping their clams on the rocks. And just at that moment, as she was icing the cake, there was a knock at the door. It was the peddler. "Good morning," said the peddler. "I have something for you." And in his hands he had a huge silver kettle. "This has already been paid for," and he left it on the kitchen floor. That night, Ulla made lobster thermidor. "Tomorrow we're going to have lobster salad sandwiches and invite all the neighbors." Well, every night Ragnar would bring home more lobster, and Ulla would use her kettle. Oh, everybody would come by. At the end of the week, Ulla said to Ragnar, "There's no room in our kitchen for this enormous kettle. Could you ask the fish if he could give us a bigger kitchen?" So sure enough, Ragnar went and he called the fish. And the fish said, "Don't worry, your new house has already been built." And sure enough, when Ragnar went home, Ulla was standing inside a house with a porch and a huge kitchen and 2 chimneys. After a few days, Ragnar asked Ulla why she didn't look happy in her new house. "Oh, it's the neighbors," she said. "They don't talk to me because we have the biggest house on the street. I think we have to move to a richer neighborhood." So Ragnar went out on his boat. Look at this. Sure enough, there was a mansion on the hill when he came home, and he and Ulla went up the road to their new home. Oh, she seemed happy for a little while, but Ragnar was not. "I miss the sound of the sea. I really do." All we need are some new friends. That'll help. Everybody will come. The stars will shine, and I'll have a fancy dress. Could you go and ask the fish to give us a huge castle? Oh well, so Ragnar went down, and sure enough, the fish said, "No problem." And there was a new mansion, and the peddler appeared, and His cart was filled with everything you would need for a party. Look at that party. Oh, the beautiful dress and the elegant suit. It was amazing. Well, Ragnar carried some food up to bed. He was getting a little tired of that party, sure enough. And in the morning, Olna said, Ragnar, guess what? I danced with the king. And Ragnar said, I know. He is 100 years old. And I was thinking maybe you could be the new king and I could be the queen. Ragnar rolled over in his bed. I don't know, he wondered. He grunted and went off to sleep. 7 days later, Olna badgered and badgered him. And yes, indeed, they went down, the both of them, to the fish. Make us king and queen, please. Oh, the fish said no. The fish said no. He said, we'll never be happy. You know what? Ragnar said, you know what makes me happy? Listening to the sounds of the sea, walking along the river, and walking and having dinner with you. And sure enough, Olna started to hear the beautiful sounds of the sea. She didn't need that huge mansion. She didn't need to be queen. No, none of that. They came to the front steps a little while later of their cottage, the original cottage they had lived in. How about we move back to our cottage? And they did. And they skated out on the ice. And they had delicious homemade bread. And they had herring. And it was so good. And there was a knock at the door. And Olna said, don't answer it. We don't need anything. And sure enough, oh, look who it was. It was a kitten. The little kitten needs us. And the peddler said, already paid for. Ah, what a sweet story. What a sweet story. The fisherman and his wife. Well, we have a birthday today, as usual. I think it's going to be Courtney. Sure enough, Molly and Alice and Jolene have gotten the first votes in. Chocolate. James and Anna and Maeve. Martha and Clara. Ben and Bee. Wesley and Teddy. Bevy and Henry. Riley. Sophia. Her brothers KJ. Oh no, the Schuyler sisters. Eliza, Peggy, Angelica. All for chocolate. Graham, Audrey, and Lila. Also chocolate. Okay, let's look at the vanilla. It's Lulu and Lucy, Maxine and Frida, Harris and Maya, and Joseph and Christopher, Bruce and Max, Carson and Nora, and Annabelle and Kira, Rory, Zoe, Malia, Akash, Patrick, Harriet, and, oh, it's Scarlett, yes. All right, let's count the vanilla. All right, we have 15 vanilla and 17 chocolate. All right, Courtney, get ready for a happy birthday with your chocolate cake. Indeed. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Courtney. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Cameraman Dan. Thank you, Oberon. Remember, I love you all